Wow. Welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Oh, wow. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC 221. Rockhold versus Romero for the UFC Interim Middleweight Championship of the World. With an asterisk on that because if Rockhold won, he would have won the belt. But Romero would have won, or he did win. He doesn't get the belt because he missed weight by 2.7 pounds. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Romero won this fight. And yeah, so yeah, this is a post-fight rundown of the main card. And so let's get started. Let's talk about this main event. Yeah, the main event was ideally for the UFC Interim Middleweight Championship of the World. Wow, it didn't happen. Basically, if Rockhold won, he would be the interim middleweight champion, and it would almost be like Romero missing weight was a thing of yesteryear. But yeah, Romero won. KO punches round 3, a minute and 28 seconds into it, and we have ourselves a guy that won a match at a catch weight. And what do you do with the guy? Oh man, it's gonna be interesting to see the narrative of this story, because you got Robert Whitaker, who's out legitimately and wants to fight, but has to recover from all his injuries. And then you got this is why I think they should have gave Kelvin Gastelum the spot that Romero had in this fight, because I think Kelvin Gastelum would have made weight, assuming obviously it would have been a middleweight bout, and Kelvin Gastelum hasn't had any major issues with middleweight. And then plus he came off that big win over Bisping, and then you got Rockhold, who obviously always makes weight. Wow. Just we're in shock and disbelief right now in the MMA world. We're not sure what to think of this. I don't know if this has ever happened, where you have essentially a vacant title, in this case the interim belt, on the line, and then you got the guy who, if he wins, he doesn't win anything, win the match. But yeah, that's exactly what happened here. I think Romero should get another fight at middleweight, and basically, assuming he makes weight and wins that will get him a title shot. So maybe redo this match against another guy in the top 10 in middleweight, like a Kelvin Gastelum, maybe. Yeah. Oh man, we're all a little speechless right now. And Yoel Romero had a great performance. He lost the first round on strikes, in my opinion, and then round 2 he won on strikes. He outlanded Luke Rockhold. Then round 3, obviously, he finished him, so it was tied 1-1 going into the third round, and Yoel Romero did his thing and got the victory. I guess congrats to him. I don't know what the UFC really gets out of this, though. Yeah, wow. But then in the co-main event, we had two guys that did make weight in the heavyweight division, Curtis Blaydes versus Mark Hunt. And this was pretty lopsided. It was 30-26 on 2 of the judges and 29-27 on the third judge. Curtis Blaydes just took Mark Hunt down at will pretty much each and every round and ground and pounded him en route to unanimous decision victory. And Curtis Blaydes was number 9 going in this fight against Mark Hunt, ranked number 5. And Curtis Blaydes definitely shoots up the rankings after a big win like this. It was very impressive. He got rocked in the first round. Mark Hunt landed a heavy right hand, and it looked like Curtis Blaydes could have, a couple more punches could have been finished, but he hung in there, and then he was smart, and he took Mark Hunt down, and it worked. And it kept him alive in that first round, and then he kept doing it in the second, third round, and got the victory. So Mark Hunt, interesting to see what he decides to do with the rest of his career. But yeah, Curtis Blaydes, big win today. Then also in the heavyweight division, we had Tai Tuivasa versus Cyril Asker, and this was Tai Tuivasa, round 1, TKO punches and elbows, 2 minutes and 18 seconds, and it was a good big win for Tai Tuivasa against a tough, durable veteran in Cyril Asker. I've watched a lot of his fights on Fight Pass, on those Fight Pass cards, and Cyril Asker's had some heavy-handed wars over his UFC career, and Tai Tuivasa is living up to the hype right now. He had a lot of hype going into this fight, and that hype train is continuing for Tai Tuivasa right now. Then in the welterweight division, we had Jake Matthews versus Ling Jingliang, and this was 29-28 on one of the judges, and then 30-26 on the other two judges. And yeah, Jake Matthews, got the win here, and he dominated. He mixed things up, good strikes, good takedowns, and looked pretty good in this fight. Jake Matthews is, I believe, a natural welterweight and should stick to this weight class. Then, to kick off the main card, probably my favorite fight on this whole card, outside the co-main event, we had a light heavyweight clash with Tyson Pedro versus Saparbek Safarov. And in this fight, it was submission Kimura, first round, 3 minutes 54 seconds, and Tyson Pedro did his thing. There was some spots where Safarov looked okay, but Tyson Pedro was able to get that reversal and then sink in the Kimura, and it was just a great performance from Tyson Pedro. And Tyson Pedro also has hype train just like Tai Tuivasa, and Tyson Pedro, I can't wait to see more of this guy. He's always fun to watch. Has exciting finishes, comes in to stand and bang, but can also grapple, and again proved it tonight. And that wraps up the post-fight show for this main card. Stay tuned in the coming days for my pre-fight for Cowboy Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros UFC Fight Night in Austin, Texas at welterweight. And until then, I guess I'll see you. I mean, yeah, just this Romero thing, I'm just still grasping this whole thing. So, but yeah, until then, see ya.